Welcome to Node Mode. I am Depeche Node, not joined by PO today, but the legendary Easy Eats Bodega. And this is usually the NFT podcast about digital art. We'll probably talk a little bit about that today, but we got bigger fish to fry. As usual, nothing in this video is financial advice. We're not financial advisors. And if you haven't noticed, the entire crypto and NFT space is quite risky. So do your own research and hold on for dear life and hit that like button, subscribe, and share. We'd like to keep this podcast rolling. Like I mentioned, today's episode will be slightly different considering the events that have transpired. Today is November 10th, 2022, a day that will live in infamy in the crypto space. And yes, Mad Perfect in the comments, my mustache is indeed gone. It's been a rough week. I lost much more than my mustache, I'll tell you that. But I am joined by Easy because one of the obviously the ecosystems that has been impacted the most has been Solana, which we are all very keenly interested in. Easy Eats Bodega. What's going on, my guy?
What is good, my friend? What is good? What is up? How we living? How we doing?
I'm alive, you know. I was texting PO. He was like, "Hey, were you affected by FTX?" I was like, "Well, like not like directly I wasn't affected, but indirectly, yes. My net worth is down like 30%." And he was just like, "LOL." I was like, "Dude, I just told you I'm down bad." And he
Thanks.
just responds, "It happens." Yeah, I get it. So I'm doing good, all things considered. Nice to see a little bounce in the market, but yeah, how about yourself?
It's good, man. I mean, like as good as it can be, So it's like right now, just still kind of surviving, getting through it all. Seems like Soul caught some buys yesterday, which was good. Nice little price action on the NFT market. Granted, with that, we did also have Soul trading like near $15. So and even less at points. I think it got as low as like 13. So with that, it made it not so fun. But hey, to each their own. We're still alive, still thriving. Can't complain too much, I guess. We could,
Yeah,
but hey.
dude, it's been insanity. So, I mean, everybody knows this is all caused by SBF. Can you give us a little bit of background in terms of like so okay, this here's I'll just mention like my own thesis for Solana. And obviously one of the big concerns that a lot of us had previously was like, okay, it's the VC chain, you know, and a lot of people loved SBF because he was helping it and investing in it bigly. And that was all great. uh, how much of this VC SBF stuff is still there versus how much do you think has already been dumped? Like, because in my mind, I actually get incredibly bullish on Solana. If I know that like we've wiped out all these people and now we can begin like building again authentically. But like, I don't know where we are in the process. Like, have they liquidated a bunch of stuff or is there still more to come? Do we know what's happening?
So we don't really have a ton of insight, sadly. It still seems like right now there's not a ton of clarity on like how much has been liquidated, what hasn't been liquidated, what the situation really is. So like when you kind of break that down, it becomes a little bit more difficult. We don't actually know what the situation is ongoing with Alameda, which is like one of the bigger hands in Sol SPL tokens. They have a bunch of like altcoins on Sol too. Obviously, they're massive FTT bags, which plays into it all. So that's chaotic. But it's like the bigger thing I think here is to your point, like I'm more bullish now than I was previously because now it seems like a lot of these funds are out. Whereas everyone kept saying, like, oh, it's massively held by VCs, they can dump on you. And it seems almost like a forced cleansing of it all, which is to me a good sign. And now it's like we have like power to retail again. A lot more people can actually get a hand in it as long as Sol can maintain some price action, I guess it's a better sign than normal. The tough thing though is like we don't actually know what's going to be going on when like the dust settles, like that's the big fear right now is like we're actively still trying to figure out what's next and like what happens after this and where we go from here.
Yeah, it feels like, I mean, right now we had a good bounce today. I was actually surprised when I woke up this morning. I was like, okay, like I'm not like ETH isn't below 1,000. We've pumped back up a little bit. But I do kind of feel like we're still in the early innings, to be honest. Like the initial like panic has gone away, but like we still don't know like who's is left to sell. And FTX apparently this morning has opened up withdrawals, right? From what I'm hearing, and people are withdrawing money all of a sudden. So like, where did that money come from? I thought it was all gone.
Yeah, that was like the big concern is like where like how is this possible? It seems like Justin Sun, the Tron guy, was one of the
Just
hands too.
Chad. He's
Yeah,
just
dude. Like just Justin Sun came through and is doing what he can to make some of this like better, I guess you could call it. I don't know if it's great, but he's definitely doing some things behind the scenes. He set it up so that there's like one-to-one withdrawals right now for a bunch of the tokens that he directly manages. Um yeah, so it's like kind of like looking at a bunch of that stuff. There's still some skepticism because like we don't actually have clarity on like what that actually means. Like, sure, that means that they can take out FT or not FTT, they can take out Tron and all the associated SPL tokens. But what we don't actually know is like what happens after this, if that makes sense. Like, if we can only remove those, then clearly we still have like some concern, you know?
Yeah. Is there and I think we mentioned this on the morning show this morning, but was there like do you feel like there's a lot of systemic risk with whatever like DeFi protocols within Solana or other projects that are being built on Solana, specifically probably on more of the DeFi side, but even on the NFT side, like with treasuries or whatnot? Is there like do you feel like there's going to be some fallout, like because maybe some of these are, I don't know, maybe they have investments with FTX or vice versa, or they, own a bunch of FTT as collateral?
That's a bigger concern. Like, we don't actually know what's going to happen next here when it comes to like the collateral aspect of it. It's like, dude, there's so many moving parts on this that like I'm certainly nervous on
Yeah.
because if we don't fully know like where some of this stuff is coming into play, then it's chaos, dude. Like, we are still trying to figure out what the next move is, I guess you could say. Like, does this mean that if some of this stuff can be moved, good, but that still leaves a ton of on-chain value that's like a massive risk. So, dude, until we actually know like what's gonna happen with Alameda, it's like I'm still hesitant. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I feel the same way. It's like when the dust settles, I want to go. I mean, I want to go heavy into Solana. I'm like, look, this feels like a solid play as long as Solana gets through this, which, by all accounts, feels like you guys have the community, the drive. Like Lisbon sounds like it was great. I mean, it feels like you guys have an amazing community over there. And just from the outside, I feel like seeing you and Pio talk about the conference, and even other people like Chris Berniski mentioned this on Twitter. He was like, it was an emotional high in the Solana space being out there in Portugal at Breakpoint, and it was just a fantastic event. So it's like nothing has changed from like a cultural standpoint, I don't think, unless you feel like people have actually lost faith in the ecosystem.
Yeah, and I don't think that's the case. Like, I think the big thing was like so many people are so excited for what's to come with everything.
Yeah.
And that's like the bigger win for me is like there's just people in the space that are so excited to be here and so many situations still ongoing with like builders. We have a ton of cool stuff still being like developed. And I really liked Raj and Toli's messages yesterday about how they felt we were actually going to be able to continue to drive, develop, and iterate. And now we didn't really need FTX to be this like figurehead for Solana to still succeed.
That's awesome, man. Like, I feel like we're definitely you've got a lot of positive momentum as long as we get through like the financial component, which is like price of the token, which I think that's it's kind of funny because it's like every NFT project's like the bane of their existence is having to deal with one on the one hand they want the price of the token to be good, but on the other it's like you'd rather just build right and let the results speak for themselves, and so that's encouraging hearing that from you, man, for sure.
Well, dude,
Um,
the Lisbon thing was like genuinely electric. Like there was just so
yeah.
much passion and excitement, and like you don't really get many opportunities where you have so many people together that are just so excited for building whatever it is. You know what I mean? It's like all the excitement there, and like the Google announcement was huge. Being able to use Google Cloud to stand up validators and nodes means that the network stability is going to ramp much, much quicker. So that's a good thing. There's always like this rumor that like, or not even a rumor, it's like the breakpoint curse. Last year was literally the Pico top. We hit 260. I think it was like 269 while
Yeah.
breakpoint was going on. Euphoria was all-time high. And then it sold off like crazy for literally the last year now. And then we did the same thing. We pumped to almost 40, and now we're well over a 65% cut down to the lows.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. They called in the comments. Here's a great comment. They called the conference breakpoint. Then they actually almost broke, dude. The entire space almost broke off of that, my friend. That's for sure. Dude, yeah, it's gonna be crazy. Do you feel like, I mean, how long do you think this all takes to settle? Like, I guess we should probably try and look back to 3AC's blow up initially and like look and think back. Do you remember how long all of that took for us to like actually settle out on a bottom and then start moving again
I
in the
think it
right
was like a
direction?
10-day run where it sold pretty hard
Yeah.
for a while, and then it finally found some form of bottom. I don't think we're near the bottom yet by any means. I think right
Really?
now, like we kind of call it like a hopium bounce because, dude, like FTX just went under.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. In
how
case we forgot, you know?
like
Yeah.
FTX just went under, which is like it sounds insane to say.
Yeah, yeah. It's like in case we've forgotten that that did happen, FYI, right? Like that's an issue. Dude, okay, I want to go in here on pop into the NFT side of things just a little bit. The and the elephant in the room for like it was right in the smack middle of all the madness. We had Frank start talking about how he might, consider moving things to ETH. I from my standpoint, I'm like, well, that's very interesting. I want to hear what the Solana side of things like. I feel like a lot of people were not happy with that announcement. What was your take on that?
I was pretty upset about it because it was like we were in this peak hysteria. People were going crazy. Sentiment was terrible. And at that point, you almost need someone to be like, I'm not leaving. Like that scene from Wolf of Wall Street where
Yes.
Leo just comes out. He's like, I'm not leaving. I'm not effing
Yeah.
leaving. Like,
And Frank's like, maybe I should go to ETH, like right at
yeah,
the moment of like mass panic.
literally the market's bleeding faster than ever. And it's like, guys, we might port over to ETH. And it's like, God, dude, no, no. Like, it's really dead. Like that was the sentiment was like, oh my God, it's really over. It's really over, you know?
Yeah.
And we saw everything sell yesterday. Like, steals were everywhere. You could buy an SMB for like 135. D Gods touched 150. All that stuff. It was chaos. It was ugly. People got steals. There was like 19,000 new wallet or trading wallets used yesterday, over 42,000 transactions.
You're
So
kidding
tons of
me.
like
That's
life,
huge. Yeah, that's like a
massive.
lot of activity, right?
Yeah. Oh, it was crazy. And that was the thing for me. I was like, okay, so we still have buyers present, which is huge. And people were like really trying to take advantage of it. I want to pull up the tweet because Chartfu posted it yesterday and actually talked about it. The last 24 hours on Magic Eden, 226,000 Solana volume, 34,000 transactions, 19,000 active wallets.
That's crazy. What's like a normal day on Solana?
I think like between 7 and 8,000 active wallets recently. It's taken a pretty big hit. And peak bull, it was probably close to like 30 to 40,000.
Wow.
Volume though is the crazy thing. We haven't seen a 250,000 volume in God knows how long. It's been hovering like 70 to 110K. So even with
Dang.
the price dip, obviously a bunch of stuff pulled back, tons of drops in USD value. And that was kind of the wild part was then like everything just seemed to ramp.
That's insane. I the other day when Utes were minting, just a funny story from me that makes me so happy was I went to mint my tube and I was like, wait, it's saying I don't have it, and I started to panic because I was like, I know that I claimed my tube, and then I looked at my wallet and I realized that I had sold my tube at the for 155 at like the Pico top, dude. And I
Wow.
didn't even notice. Like with Magic Eden, I don't know if it's just me because I'm not on here all the time, but like half the time it doesn't seem like the transaction goes through, or like, I looked at it and I remember listing it and I thought, oh dang, it's all slowing down.
Mhm.
It's going to be it's too high, and I didn't think it ever sold, but apparently it did at the Pico top, which is fantastic. So that's exactly, I have a little bit less sold because I bought a couple pieces of art. But I got enough to claim all my freaking bodega buddies, dude, when they come. I'm just gonna
That's a
max mint
move.
those suckers, dude. Dude, so I heard that, was this true that Utes, they dipped like to 30 or 40 yesterday for a second?
Like
That's,
45, yeah, they
oh
dipped
my
very,
gosh.
very far. Very, very far.
Okay, so what do you think? Like, what's been the follow up to Frank's kind of, hey, we're going to ETH? Like, what's everybody thinking now? Is he just, things are going to calm down? He's going to stick on Solana. Is sentiment generally still good for this project on the Solana side?
Yeah, I think he kind of pivoted and bounced back, and that was the big thing. It was nice to hear that he kind of walked the statement back, deleted the messages, and kind of took a pivot from that. Said instead, like he understood that his words hold a lot of value, which is true. And I think in
Yeah.
that moment, it was just kind of like he didn't really realize how much value those words hold, and it kind of led to the price action that we saw. he's openly said too, like even before this, he wants a cross-chain future. I just think that the messaging came at a very poor time.
Right. I remember him talking about, like doing something on ETH. And I think a cross chain future is great. Like, I think that's fantastic. I'd love to see a collection. So far there have been exactly zero that have bridged the gap between Solana and ETH. And that would be really cool. Like, I'd love to see more of a broader kind of giant community rather than two completely separate, communities that sort of ostracize one another. We'll see, man. I think it'll be interesting. Let's see here what we got in the comments. We got a guy saying, "Oh, we saw D Gods at 130. They got swept. That's pretty impressive." A lot of crazy price action. A friend in the chat wants to know, totally off topic. He's going to the SLC airport soon. My man, I just want to let you know, you have to walk about 8 miles no matter what direction you go in that new airport. So I just apologize in advance. Most of the food in there is actually good though because it's new. So. My guy, Easy, did you fly into the new airport when you came out?
Yeah.
Dude, the thing is, like, you have to walk literally
It's so
like,
large, bro.
yeah, dude, it's like a 5K, like run. You may as well do that every time you walk through. It's insanity, dude. I hate it. But anyway, back to the matters at hand here. So we got, since we're on the topic of Solana, we got this PFP project of Utes, obviously. What are you seeing in general that's happened across kind of just the broader Solana NFT market with all of this? Did everything kind of pull back and now it's already ripping, or what's kind of the state of the market there?
It's tough to really say because like right now it seems like we're in this like lull still. Like we still have a few mints trying to gain traction. It's tough because the market's pretty damn beat. Like it's ugly at the moment, Like
Yeah.
right now we're still kind of struggling with like what is the future? What exactly does this mean for NFTs on Sol? What is the best path forward for NFTs on Sol? So right now I think that there's still a lot of speculation in the market. A lot of people are still uncertain with like where we go from here, and that's totally to be expected. Um, the other thing too is like we are still like in this like waiting period. Like I think until we really know the move with FTX, SBF has been our savior on Sol forever. Like that was the figurehead. That's like
Yeah.
everyone was like, "There's no way we're gonna go to zero because we have SBF and FTX," and here we are.
Yeah, and then they went to zero. You're like, hey, well, we're not going to go to zero because we're better than them. And I do think, I believe it was Chris Bernisky and maybe somebody else that mentioned this on Twitter. They just said, like, look, Solana has outgrown, SBF and Alameda and that at this point. Like, and I think that's true. Like, I think Solana has outgrown them and gone. It's bigger than them now. But the problem is that they're just such a huge factor in the market, right? Like they're just still obviously had such big bags that I think it can affect anything. Didn't you pick up a Solana monkey business?
Yeah, and then I fat fingered it yesterday because I was on this dude. I took out like a 25 ETH short yesterday that paid very nicely.
Dude,
And,
nice work.
Yeah, I went to increase my liquidation level on it and basically add to it, and I papered my SMB for like 1/10 what I meant to list it for. It's so dumb.
Oh,
So
it was a decimal point issue?
Literal decimal point issue. Yeah.
Oh
So
my
I'm so
gosh,
mad about
dude.
it. I got clowned yesterday. I was like, yeah, rightfully so. It happens. Like, whatever. I fucked up.
Dude, are you gonna come back? You gonna join?
I'm gonna end up buying. I'm still like debating buying one now. I mean, they pumped to 165. I'm gonna end up buying another one because, dude, they're just fun. Like, I mean, it's the provenance of
man.
Solana NFTs.
Yeah, like this is basically one of the only NFTs I own on Solana. Is this one?
I like that yellow one with the top hat, the green shirt, and the green background. Green's my favorite color, so like that one plays a lot. If you actually scroll down a little bit, you could probably see the one that I fat fingered.
Let's see here.
It was listed at 177. It may have sold.
Let's see. It's already at 200s. We're already in the
So
200s here, so it's up there. Oh yeah, I mean that would have been below floor at 177.
What's
so,
floor
yeah.
right now? Oh yeah, so I guess
179.
Yeah, so that means that it sold today. So that's always fun. The guy made and I messaged him. I sent him like there's this thing called Foxy Ding where you can send a message to a wallet. So I sent him a message and was like, I'm happy to give you some soul. Like, let's make a deal. Somebody responded and was like, I know the guy who runs the sniper. He's not on Twitter. He's not on social media. He's basically a ghost. You're not going to get it back. So I was like, all right, damn. That's
oh, dang.
I like that pipe one too. That one's cool. There's
what
a couple of
story, dude.
Yeah, so that stinks. Whatever. We live and we learn, So I'm still active, still around, not too shaken up about it. A lot of people were just calling me like a paper hands and stuff for it, and I'm just like, dude, Like, I explained exactly what I was trying to do. A bunch of people
Yeah.
then were like, "Oh, I mean, it makes sense." Because, like, dude, I'm not about to get liquidated on a massive short position, being an idiot.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
worked out. Like, I made more on that swing to now buy back in if I really wanted to.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, everything worked out well on your ETH trade, and so it all works. Oh my gosh, that's insane, dude. I apologize for your loss, and also congrats on your gain. You know, we win
It's
and
one
we
of
lose.
those.
You
Yeah,
kind of
it's one of
lost
those.
and you like lost and won all at once, right there. That's
Literally.
fantastic.
So it happens to the best of us.
Yeah, it does. It does. So I want to talk a little bit about, heading over to exchange.art here if this will load up. Um, I've been paying more attention over here and on this side of the market. I don't know, have you noticed? I haven't looked basically at a lot of like the art prices, before and after all this madness.
Mhm.
But do you feel like has this, on ETH, for example, Gen Art has held up much better than PFPs recently, even with this latest pullback, I would say. Has the same thing been happening on Solana, or like what's the status here?
Yeah, I just feel like people wow, I actually like that picture a lot.
I do too.
Yeah, wow.
Is this that one
It's
artist
not
that you
flat, no,
it's not flat.
but I
Okay.
like it a
This is
lot. What's the bid on
another
that? 3?
another
At
Grant
least.
Yen very similar style, which I think it's a great style, dude. I think
I
it's really
love the
cool.
simplistic style,
Yeah,
bro.
me
It's
too,
just
dude.
so clean.
This is
Like,
clean. Pull
uh
up in a Corvette if I had one. I have a Kia Soul 2012. Easy's been in it. He's ridden in that gem of a car.
that I have, an absolute
I
beaut.
drove you, like, across the parking lot. That was
Literally across the
fantastic, you
parking
know?
lot.
We're like, "Hey," he's like, "I need to find some coffee. Let's find it." And, we drove, like we didn't even make it out of the parking lot of the shopping center where we were, and, there it was, so we made it
Hey,
happen. But, yeah,
not too mad about it.
tell me about, like, the art side of things. How are things holding up over here?
I think honestly they're what is that? Honestly, they're holding up pretty well. Just saw something on my wall. So what the heck? I think they're honestly holding up pretty well. What is I got a dot over here. Sorry, I'm distracted from my camera. Or it's on my screen.
I
Huh,
can't
I'm
see it. Yeah,
bugging. Yeah,
I'm
I'm
like,
bugging.
I can't see anything,
Oh, I
dude. You're,
got it.
like,
Okay. I was like, what
pointing
is
at a
going on
white
here?
he's, like, pointing at the wall. It's, like, completely
It was on
white.
my screen. I was bugging. I was like, because it just got me distracted. But no, I mean, the art scene's actually kind of held up much better. We've actually seen some John Lay pieces move really well. The 0% royalties, everyone's favorite conversation,
Yeah.
is the one that's kind of caused more controversy because there was something like 40% of John Lay's pieces were not selling out or not selling with royalties. Now there's a bunch of stuff too with like not Adam Ape. I think it is John Lay's piece. He has an open edition that hasn't sold out either. There's like 187 left at a 5 soul mint.
Oh,
And
I think it was
it
this
is,
one, I
yeah, the
think. Yeah,
physical comic.
yeah,
Yeah.
the comic one. I've been eyeing this actually. Wow, the floor's actually pumped up a little bit. It was down in the threes yesterday, which kind of makes sense. There's 131 left on this guy. This one's a little bit different though. Don't you feel like this one's kind of different than a classic art piece because it's a actual comic, right? It's like
You
this
get a
is a book.
physical comic book.
Yeah, yeah. And thanks to exchange.art. Come on, exchange.art. Let's like load up these images already, man. I think I may just have to stop sharing the screen because we're just looking at a blank,
Just nothing.
flashing light that's gonna, give somebody a seizure or something. So let's see if we go back to this page. At least they're showing up here. Okay, so it's been holding up a little bit better. What kind of artists have you been keeping an eye on that you like over here?
Yeah, so OX Flat is the one guy I know I've mentioned. I'm a huge fan of what Flat's
Oh yeah.
created. Then I actually picked up another piece when I talked to A2K DeFi on my YouTube. And let me actually pull up the artist's name here. I'm a huge basketball fan. So for me, doing stuff like art around that, yeah, I love the bus stop piece. I own that. I think
Oh,
I have like
nice.
I think I have like over 20 different pieces from
Over here.
OX Flat. Yeah, I have a
So
bunch.
I gotta ask, like OX flat. This reminds me a lot of Grant Young stuff, dude. Do you think there's any connection there, or do you think it's
Could
just
be.
like
We
somebody
could
that's
have a
inspired?
pseudo name. Some people have asked. They say they're inspired. We'll see. I don't know about that. But we'll see. We'll see.
Well,
We'll see.
you wouldn't be disappointed if it
I'd be
was him, dude.
ecstatic, bro. Oh man. I have so many of the open editions. I have like 4 of these things called love letters. I have good morning. I have bus stop, free throw, whole bunch of like all the sports ones, home run. I just huge sports fanatic. I missed out on fly out. I missed out on a few others. And then I also picked up this PFP from this artist called Anonymous Ghost. And I bought the full Teletubby set. So it's like he creates these like ghost, like blanket over your head style art PFPs. And I saw that they had the full set on the floor for 2 Sol each and just scooped them all up. So that's Anonymous Ghost. I hold up Playground Waves, which is like the chromie squiggles
Is
of
that on
Sol.
here as well?
I'm not sure if it is. It may only be on Magic Eden and Playground itself.
Okay, I'll just go there to check it
And
out
then
because we're
the
having
last one's
issues.
called Surreal for Real, which is a bunch of basketball hoops that are like done in different styles.
Oh, you showed me that. That was
Mm.
interesting. Yeah, yeah. Were they actual like
Yeah, they're
photos?
photographs. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
actual
the
photographs
photos.
that are on chain. So I love that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Remind me, what was the name of the one? Oh yeah, it was the playground waves. These are
Yep,
kind of
Playground
like
Waves.
very similar, not similar, but kind of remind you of the squiggle, right? Like this
Yep.
is the oh yeah, they are kind of similar.
Yeah, so
Um,
they're generative, they're animated. They've actually broken down like what they did differently, certainly inspired. The creator of them is a original like Solana investor. So like some
oh, that's
history.
cool. So it's like
Yeah.
yeah, like a history in the platform.
Yeah, so I like them a lot, and I actually picked up one that was like red over floor that has the full rainbow in it. So like, there's different color iterations. Like you see some of the fulls body colored ones. I grabbed one that's like a full spectrum
Oh,
that
dude,
I was
yeah.
happy about. You know,
Yeah, full spectrum, man. Those are some of the grails in this on the squiggles for sure. If I remember right, like the highest full spectrum sale was to Three Arrows Capital and for
oh,
their fund, dude. They
hey,
paid like 1 million plus or something for a full spectrum squiggle.
man.
They just were great top buyers of everything at the last, in the last bowl. It was fantastic. Really appreciate those guys. You mentioned something, and I asked this to a lot of guests, and it's probably because I have a hard time figuring out how to value them. But like, what is your take on, you mentioned open editions, and obviously a lot of artists on, it feels like exchange.art does a lot more edition type stuff.
Mhm.
Um, how do you think about like valuing editions, and like, are there parameters that you set for yourself? Like, is something too high of a number? Or like, how do you decide like, okay, this is a good deal?
A tough question, like I think it
Yeah.
really is just like preference. Like if I like something and I see something, I bought my playground for 7, they pumped to like 13 the next day. And now it's like right around my entry again. But like those are with art. I don't know why I normally sell everything. With art, I don't mind just like forgetting about it,
Yeah.
and like tucking it away. I don't really have much of like an emotional attachment per se, but it's just like it's easier to hold those things because you feel that they're going farther whenever like the next bull run starts. If one of these artists gets picked up, they can make some moves. Yeah, I love Degen Poet. He does a ton of open editions, a lot of them Pokemon inspired. So it's like that nostalgia from the 90s.
Yeah.
Like
Charmander.
I hold the Bulbasaur piece. I hold one of those. I hold his Snorlax piece that he recently dropped. So I do have a ton of like generative art and like artist creation stuff.
That's awesome. I mean, dude, you're man after my own heart. Like when you buy art, I do like, I'm going through my NFTs right now, like my portfolio, and I'm like, look, what can I just get rid of and tax loss harvest and be like, get it, lower my entry costs and try and do that. And almost all of it are PFPs and other things that are non-related to art. And all my art pieces I want to hold. Like I'm holding these. Like that's just how I'm naturally doing it. And so I wonder, there's just that stickiness factor for sure. So tell me more about, like, yeah, I just happened to scroll through here on Degen Poet. Tell me more about this artist. Like, I don't know anything about what they're up to.
Yeah, so he makes it with a typewriter, which is like so
Whoa,
cool.
really? That's
Yeah, so if you
interesting.
actually look at some of the animated stuff, it's all typewriter stuff. So like he's actually broadcasted how he's done some of the work. And to me, that's like my favorite part is like he creates this like really cool concept of stuff with the typewriter, shows his process. And to me, I think that's like probably the coolest thing
Yeah,
because it's
yeah.
like all kinds of just crazy, crazy stuff that even I am just like, this is wild, like it's a different type of medium. The videos of like the creation are unreal. Guy just does an absolutely great job. And then like to make some of this stuff into like Pokemon and stuff from like my childhood, it just plays into it. You can see he has like the poet punks too. He's got a
Yeah.
whole bunch of stuff that like pulls from like traditional NFTs, the crypto world, and then like the Pokemon, which is fun.
Yeah, I like this piece. The little frog
Rug.
here upside down. I don't know why it's cool. Rug number 5. That's legit, dude. Yeah, that's cool, man. Okay, so and then you mentioned was it Anonymous Ghost? Are they on
Yeah,
exchange.art?
they should be on exchange art. Yeah, so Anonymous Ghost is what it's called.
Anonymous Ghost. Let's see if we can find him. There we go. Artist. I want to
Yep.
look through this guy. Okay, so I mean, this looks like a PFPs, but
Yeah,
he's
all
just.
one
Are they
of
just?
one done.
Just one of ones,
And
just
they're
one
like
at a time.
inspired by like pop culture too. So like if you keep going, there's a whole bunch of it. I like the sold ones a little bit better because people tend to grab the good ones that were there.
Oh, there's
True
like
Soul Mint.
Fuji.
Yep. They got the Campbell's soup. They've got a whole bunch of stuff. And that's why I like the surreal one there. That's like a little bit more realist style.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
one's
these
cool.
are
Robin
interesting.
Hood. So it's all just kind of like crazy PFP stuff. I saw some volume on them and was like, why not just grab one? And I think he's almost sold out. Two Soul was the original cost of them. So a decent number of people have like bought and relisted and kind of done some of that stuff.
So this is interesting because most like I don't know, what are your thoughts on PFPs as art? Like I feel like you for whatever reason, like as soon as somebody launches a PFP collection, I'm like, great, yeah, the art might be cool, but the PFP on its own, I have a hard time being like, okay, this stands as like art totally by itself as like an art piece. Even though it's all art, but like aside from CryptoPunks, I just don't see, I have a hard time being like, okay, this is art. But like what's cool here is that this is on exchange.art, which is all just mostly digital artists. Like there's no like community type collections on here that I'm aware of. And they went for this straight like, hey, let's do something that could be PFPs and do one of one art.
Yeah, and
Uh
there's a few of those. So if you actually look up the artist Nippies, Nippies, it's another
Nippies. Let's find them.
yeah, this one's comical. It's like they look wild, but these have some insane value behind them.
Oh wow. Yeah, look at that. Okay, tell me
Yeah.
the story behind these.
So one of one artist, clearly, but it's somebody from the D Gods community that was like they fumbled a bunch of dust, which is the token, and then created these as like their entrance into the art space. And for some reason, people just really related to them, which is hilarious because they're
Yeah.
pretty out there. None of them look alike, like you can see, but it certainly is more of that PFP style. But people love them. Like that Halo one is, I think, one of the higher sales that I've
Yeah,
seen
last
on them.
sold 70 soul. That's
Yeah,
solid.
absolutely crazy.
This is
So
cool. You know what this reminds me of is, dude, this is art gobblers before art gobblers, and I like this better, honestly, like than art gobblers. But it's got that similar vibe, right?
mhm.
Of just like kind of bizarre but fun.
Yeah, you
And
look at
like
them like, "This is
Nippy's
crazy."
like, look at this guy.
Yeah, the
This guy
diesel
has
one.
the GI nips, dude. It's like a giant machine gun, like barrels as
It's
nipples. That's
so crazy,
hilarious.
bro. And then if you also look up like Hotheads is another PFP auction style of fine art. Like it's all exchange art, it's all auctions, but they're PFPs.
Did these look like the right ones here? Let's see here.
Let me see which one it is.
Jahil Jello. That doesn't seem right.
If you just type hot space
Maybe I'll do
heads.
a space. There we go.
There you go, first one.
There we go. Let's check this out.
And
Okay.
these
Oh,
floors are
these are cool.
crazy too. So it's like 120, 269, best offer 60, 70 on some of them too.
Dang. Okay, I like this artist. Yeah, tell me more about this collection.
Yeah, so Hotheads was originally like it wasn't so much an alpha group. So there's the original like people call it like the Solana Illuminati's, this project called Boogles.
Hmm.
If you've ever heard of them.
I have
No,
not.
dude, Boogles are crazy. I don't even know if they sell, oh, they do sell them on here. So we'll take a look at those after. You're gonna be like, this makes no sense. But it was like one of the first one of one collections. It's 100 supply. And then what they did was you've had a couple spin-offs. Like Hotheads is, in my opinion, like a spin-off of it. Another small fine art style of pixel art that creates like these really tight-knit alpha groups that are constantly trading, talking alpha. They get allow lists. Like they end up becoming like trading groups of like people who are also collectors. And usually these trading groups have a little bit more funds in them for sure because they're buying
Yeah.
these one of one PFPs.
Yeah.
And one of the bigger whales in the space at the time, who was a huge Boryoku Dragons holder, used one of these as their PFP, and they gained a ton of traction after that. So pretty crazy to see. Yeah, actually look up Boogle here, Boogle.
Here we go. Boogle. Let's check it out here.
Second one.
Second one down.
Yeah. So look at the
Oh, I
sales
think
on this.
I've seen these before. This is interesting. Okay, so maybe sort. What should I sort by? Like, let's go low to high and just see what it looks like here. Oh, these are just offers.
Yeah, so you can see though the current price 6,000. The highest sale I believe was for 2,500 for the last one. There's only 100. They threw, yeah, you can actually see the last sale I believe on this was 600 sold. And if you look at activity, they made 2 months ago. That'll show all the auction history.
Gosh, this is insane. Okay, so tell me why these went nuts. Like,
Yeah, so if you want to go over to the activity tab, right above it, and we
Oh, yeah,
can
there
look
we
at some of
go.
the sales history. There we go. So that was the number
2,500.
100 sold.
Wow.
And that was about $75,000 at the time. So that's a Bored Ape. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy to think about. Below that's 1,000, 1,100, 18, 16, 22, all kinds of crazy numbers. When they were going for 500, Soul was like $200. So like just crazy, crazy numbers on these. And it's just because it's like the network of it. It's created by Jords and Ceylon, two of the most like OG Solana names. They had arguably the best event at Lisbon. I know PL and Luke were like, this is crazy. Just really, they rented out a palace. Like it was nuts, you know?
Sick.
So it's, they just like are just, and they're insanely early when it comes to Solana in general and have done this like really well over there. But their group is so tight knit that like they're probably the most well connected group on Solana. And it comes from like these fine art styles. Like you don't get to, it's all bids. Like everything on these are auctions. They end up flying. Like it's just mayhem when you consider the price action on it. And I think that that is part of what plays into like the hype is it gets people excited that something's this expensive, you know, for a pixel ghost.
Okay, so tell me more about these like the founders you mentioned. Was it George
Jords and Ceylon are
and
the two
Celon?
guys.
Okay, so tell me more about these guys. Like it just sounds like they're OGs in the space and they
Yeah, they
decided
were
to
just
launch
like
this.
early into tokens and like did very, very well for a very, very long time. So like that's kind of what played into it. And they were always sharing like market talk, trading coins, trading alpha, like really early on. Jords and Ceylon were actually two of they had like this spaces back last year, I want to say, called the forum that they just did a great job highlighting one artist in the space and having
Oh, very cool.
conversations that were like general market talk while also talking one art. So it was a lot different than the traditional, like, here's alpha, here's what we're trading, here's what we're buying, here's what we're selling. And that made a lot of people like myself included want to check out Solana. Just could have never afforded one of these during the time and just ended up see them continuing to run up. But it's just been a crazy, crazy ride for them because they created this like name in the space. Like if you trade Solana NFTs, you know what a Boogle is and you know you can't afford one. Like that's the general consensus. And when you see one posting, tweeting, etc., they just have this massive reach because of that PFP alone. It's like become this like sign of a whale in the ecosystem, which is pretty funny.
I actually love that. So, and it looks like, I mean, I imagine, are these only here or are they also on Magic Eden?
They're there, but they don't
That,
get any traction there. It's like
yeah.
here in exchange art. There was another one too. Form function, I believe. Is the
Okay.
other one
So,
up on marketplace?
yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, like, it doesn't look like they have like anything for sale really. Like the only one that's listed is this one for 6,000. Everything else you just gotta put a bin on it and hope that you get it. Like there's just no supply, which makes the club even more exclusive, right? So let's say you get one of these things. Is it kind of like your ticket into their crew or not
Yeah.
really? It's just kind of like, yeah, okay. It's like you're
If you
you're now
have
in the
one, you're in.
network. Yeah,
Yeah,
right
but it's
on.
also like they curate it, which is crazy. Like they do OTC deals, but they almost like vet you before they let you buy it. It's like they want to make sure you're actually net positive for the ecosystem and
Yeah.
are a fit into this like the Illuminati, basically. Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what it feels like.
And there's only 100 too, right? So it's
Yep.
like very low supply, truly OG status. If you want to be OG in the Solana space, you get one of these suckers and you're like, it's kind of like having a punk. Like it's just your ticket to, and probably better than having a punk because the punk community is awesome, but it's just kind of like very natural and organic and spread out. But this feels like very much you're part of the crew.
Yeah, and they all trade. That's like the other thing. Like Solana's very trade focused.
Yeah.
And I think that because of that, these people are also hyper focused on trading. They're not as active as like day trading in the ecosystem, which is fine. Like some people enjoy that, some people don't. But it's just crazy, man. Like it's so interesting to see like these like smaller groups form, like hotheads formed off of it. We could have dove into a few of the others. Boogles was like the first to do it. There's a bunch more too. Like those nippies have a small community that's growing. Bear marketers have a community that's growing of 100, like all kinds of these like small groups. It feels like sub DAOs of like bigger communities that dive into one art. And then once they buy these assets, they very rarely ever sell them because it's like low supply. You typically get it for a decent cost at the time. And if you're early into these collections, the floor price runs, but now you have this like attachment to that small group of people you talk to every day.
Yeah, I love that. I'm just looking at the chat here. We got Wolfie saying, "Is this a fan of Spectres? Have we seen them? A one of one
I haven't
PFP
seen them.
project." I haven't. I'll have to check that one out. Thanks for surfacing it, Wolfie. I'll check it out for sure. Dude, I love it. I think there does feel like there's a lot of momentum, even on the art side in Solana.
Oh, for sure. And it doesn't feel like it's stopping anytime soon, which is nice. It feels like there's just a lot of excitement still. So I'm excited to see where it goes. Like, who knows?
Yeah, dude, for sure. Okay, so I wanna get your thoughts on. I always ask people like, okay, let's say somebody is brand new, especially like for me, like I've been looking at the Solana stuff. I've dabbled a little bit, but I haven't gone crazy yet on the art side. I picked up GM from John Lay, which I really liked. But like, what's your advice for people that are interested in getting into Solana on the art side? Like what would you recommend that they do? Like step one, where do they go? Like how should they approach it on the Solana side?
You go to Exchange Art, you find a category you like, and you just start scrolling. Like
I
that's
love it.
probably the easiest way, man. Like you're gonna find something you like there. And my favorite part is that Soul's so small that when you buy something, if they can find who you are, they'll openly thank you. They'll DM you, they'll post a tweet thanking you. They're just so supportive because the ecosystem's still so small that like it's such a nice feeling to see like this level of support and interest from these small artists that like you feel like you're making an impact on their life and like supporting something that you genuinely like because you bought it because it looked good, not because it's like gives you some coin that you expect to make you generational wealth, you know?
Yeah, wholesome, dude. I actually really do love collecting from artists as well, and because you can like establish a relationship with them early on. You know what I mean? Like you can talk with them. They're excited to share things with you. Like I never know which side. Yeah, hey, I did it. Like this piece, the Skylux piece, you can't see it very well,
Mhm.
but like, dude, I freaking love that artist, and I bought his piece on Super Rare. And then he was just, he reached out and now we DM all the time. Like, it's just like really cool to be able to chat with these artists. And imagine, if they get big and you're one of the early supporters, obviously that's good for you financially, but it's just fun to actually get to know people directly. There's a lot, it feels a little bit more personal, I would say, than a lot of the PFP projects.
Oh, absolutely. It feels like you can actually talk to these people. Like when I bought that Surreal for Real piece, Douglas reached out right away and was like, just saw you buy this on stream. It was awesome. Like, let me know if you have any questions, da da da. I'd love to hop on too. And like, I'm a huge hoops fan, so I just love what he does. He had a cool like IRL installation in Lisbon where he was like throwing hoops up on the streets and like creating temporary basketball hoops. So
Dude,
it's just really cool stuff like that. And like you end up following along and seeing their journey and where they go.
I love that, dude. Okay, so before we end, I want to chat hoops a little bit with you because you've mentioned it like 3 times. You're a big hoops fan. Are you? I mean, you're out east. Are you a Celtics guy? Like, what's your team?
I'm a C's fan, C's
Okay,
fan through and through.
dude. And I gotta say, I bet nobody saw the freaking Utah Jazz coming this year. I wrote them off, right? So I'm from Salt Lake
I
City,
wrote him
obviously.
off, bro. Like
I
there is
wrote them
no way.
completely off. They're the worst team to support because you kind of get excited, and they've been a good team forever, but they just are never a great team. Obviously, like small market, we're never going to be amazing. But like, dude, we are the number one team in the West right now. Like,
It
can
makes
you
no
believe
sense.
that?
It
Can you
makes
believe that?
absolutely no sense. Makes no sense. Makes no
I
sense.
can't I cannot understand it. Like okay, like give me your prediction now. Like I would have said we would have won 15, 20 games, for the whole season at the beginning of the year. That's what I would have told you. And now they've already won 10. They're like 10-3. What's your prediction for the end of the year? Where do the Utah Jazz end up?
Man, they're gonna make the playoffs. Like this red hot start. I think give me a 7 seed. I think they're the 7 seed in the West.
I think that's a good reasonable take, dude. That's what I would probably put as
Like
well.
they're
Like
surprising a lot of people. Seems like they're fitting together and meshing really well. But I worry about the longevity of the season as some of these vets kind of start coming alive. And some of the injuries kind of clear up. The West is pretty wide open, which is crazy enough to say. Like it's going to be tough, but like the benefit here is because they nuked their whole team, got rid of Gobert, got rid of Donovan Mitchell. They basically have Mike Conley and a few like assisting pieces around him. Eric Pascal's still there.
wait,
That's
I
tough.
think didn't Eric Pascal? I
Oh
think
no,
he
he got
got
traded
traded.
too.
I
Yeah,
think he
he
got
got
traded.
traded. They moved
We
him
got
too for a couple
Yeah,
draft
dude.
picks.
Yeah, we got. I mean, our all star is Laurie Markkinen. He is crushing it.
Yeah, but he
He's
was also
absolutely
great
crushing
for the Bulls. So like
it. Yeah,
that was a nice little swap there. He's always a great asset. He's like always under the radar, but just plays really, really well. So yeah, I
yeah.
would say a 7 seed. A seven
Nice,
seed.
nice. I like it. Okay, and then tell us where your Celtics are going to end up.
The 1 seed. The
Oh, of
one
course.
seed in the East.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Come on now.
I feel like they've got as good a shot as any. That's for sure. Like of staying there, and we'll see how the Bucks end up doing. Well, dude, this has been awesome. I want you to give us some hopium, give us some thoughts for the next like 6 months, what's your plan? Like, what are you thinking about doing in general for the next 6 months in this market?
Bodega Buddies will launch within the next 6 months. So there's that.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
excited
that's
for that.
good.
Yeah,
Can we get a little shorter time frame on that? Will it launch in the next 3 months?
that's the hope. That's the
Okay,
hope.
that's the
The
hope.
hope is in the next 3 months, if not a little sooner. Like
Okay.
January, if the market's not in the complete gutter, is probably ideal. But it's like I just want some stuff to like settle. Like the royalty conversation kind of pushed us back from October because it was like, do we release with royalties? How do we release to the AMM model where we keep a massive supply and go into a pool for that and yield like a fee off of it? That doesn't seem to be the most sustainable model. So like, okay, maybe not that. And it kind of just led to some delays. Like the art's done. So like we could theoretically launch whenever. But it's just kind of waiting to see. The FTX news is like a huge punch to Solana. And it seems like that is going to be resolved, we hope. But it's also like we don't really have to sprint to roll this out. So at this point, now I'm just kind of working on like all the things that I can make sure are rolled out shortly after release to keep it fun and engaging
Yeah.
and have people continue to be excited for an extended period of time. And if anything, like this delay has just let me kind of put my head down and keep knocking stuff out. I've been talking a lot about game theory and like 10K TF and like how can we implement similar mechanics into the mint and like following the mint to kind of paint this story in this world that like I'm really excited for.
Dude, I love it, dude. I'm excited as well. Depending on right now, I've got enough nifty portals to mint 50 of those bad boys. So I'm definitely planning on as many nifty portals as I have at that time. I will be utilizing every single one of them. Tell us a little bit more about like, is the plan for the mint, you get allow list if you have a nifty portal, any other opportunities or is it all kind of pretty allocated at this point?
Yeah, so there's going to be two different allow list models. If you have a nifty portal, you're guaranteed a spot. If you're a whale, you get an extra spot per 10. So right there, you'd get like what,
5, dude.
50, 55?
Yeah,
Yeah, off
55,
that.
baby.
So that's always nice. We are still doing some giveaways in the Discord. So if you're not in Nifty Discord, please join. What are you doing? You're slacking. But then we also have a couple other like DAO collabs. So there's going to be like that main list where if you get a loud list through the Nifty Discord or hold a portal, it's a guaranteed spot. And then the DAO list is basically whatever remaining supply there is, an over allocation there, and then public if it makes it.
Love it, dude. Love it. Well, I would love for it to launch in January, man. That would be fantastic. Start the new year off right. Hopefully, we'll see what happens. Market's crazy, but I'm sure most people, if not everybody's already following Easy on Twitter. Go ahead and give him a follow. So great to have you, man. Let's do this again. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Node Mode, November 10th, 2022. November 10th, 2022. I said it. We survived. We can get through this. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks, everybody. We'll catch you later.